Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective. Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. I am your host, Ray Flowers, as you just heard. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. Got a good show planned today. We'll talk about it here in a second. But again, I'm Ray Flowers. You can follow me on Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, all of those places at The Ray Flowers. If you follow us on Twitter, X in particular, you can find this show, obviously, in its entirety. But you can also see clips. Every day we're posting some clips there. So if you missed the show and you don't have an hour to watch, maybe you can check it out at Fantasy Guru site on Twitter, X for those minute and a half long clips. If you want to watch the show in its entirety, whether live or on demand, or listen to the show in its entirety, live or on demand. Actually, yes, if you're listening, it's always, well, it could be both, yeah. There's five different spots to do it. One, go to fantasyguru.com. At the top of the page, there is a tab there, a toolbar there. And one of the tabs is Elite Plus. Click on Elite Plus, and it'll take you to all the shows in the network. Jeff Mann Show, Justin Fensterman Show, Armando Marsal's show, our horse racing, our NASCAR show, this show, the Elite Plus tab at the top of the page. If you can type in Fantasy Sports Daily where you listen to podcasts, if those places are Pandora, Spotify, YouTube Music, or Apple iTunes, any of those four places, if you type in Fantasy Sports Daily, you can find us as a podcast. So just subscribe, like, give a good review, all that. We'd appreciate it. And then the three spots, you can always watch the show live or on demand. If you're watching live, you can leave comments and questions that we can talk about throughout the show. YouTube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork, Twitter X @FantasyGuru site, Facebook.com/FantasyGuruHQ. You thought I was going to flip you off, didn't you? Didn't you? Admit it. I would never do that, at least intentionally. But yeah, so those three places, live or on demand, you can always leave comments and questions as we're on the show. So let's throw up on the screen what we're talking about today. And as you'll see, we got a lot of things to talk about. We'll talk about the draft guide, which is live. We'll talk about this whole Blake Snell thing. I got a lot to say about Blake Snell. We'll talk about Blake Snell and his wussydom, the height of entitlement. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes. We'll also talk about SWIP, strikeouts minus walks divided by innings pitched, something I came up with years ago and why that's important. There's an article about it over at fantasyguru.com. You can see it on the screen. You can also read about it in the description below. Time to replace WHIP. We all know WHIP, right? We love WHIP. Everyone uses WHIP, all that kind of good stuff. ABA, average bases allowed, was invented years ago by myself and Mr. Wilson. I always give him credit because I don't even know if he's involved anymore in sports, but we talked through it together and came up with it. So I always want to give him his credit. But ABA is better than WHIP. It's inarguable. It's irrefutable. And we'll explain why that is here in a few minutes. In about 25 minutes, we will visit with Russell Clay of FantasyGuru.com. Russ has been going he comes every Friday at about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. And we talk rookies with him. He's our Dynasty guy over at FantasyGuru.com. We're talking some wide receivers today. Guys like Travis Hunter, Jayden Higgins, Emeka, Egbuka, McMillan. How was 2025 and what is their outlook moving forward based upon 2025? We'll talk to Russell Clay about that in a few minutes. Learn how to use the tool, right? There we go. So everyone knows by now, right? You go to fantasyguru.com and click the subscribe tab in the top right corner. You can sign up for the seasonal baseball package. You can sign up for the DFS baseball package. You can sign up for the betting baseball package. You can sign up for 2 of the 3 products. You can sign up for all 3 products. If you have any questions about signing up for any of it, go to fantasyguru.com and simply, actually, the easiest way to do that, as I'm adjusting my microphone, I apologize. The easiest way to do that is to send an email to support@fantasyguru.com. support@fantasyguru.com. And that will get you, let me see, I can actually, here it is. I'll actually throw it up on the screen now because I have the ability to do that. Boom, there we go. Email support@fantasyguru.com. If you have any questions about any of the products, baseball, football, NASCAR, PGA, MMA, horse racing, tennis, hockey, if I didn't mention it, basketball. By the way, that MVP plan is all the sports we cover besides football and baseball. So if you sign up for the MVP plan right now, you get PGA, NASCAR, MMA, horse racing, tennis, hockey, basketball. I'm probably leaving something out. Okay, you get all that. It's in the MVP plan over at fantasyguru.com. But if you have any questions about any of the products, hit up that email, support@fantasyguru.com. Draft guide is available. It is live right now. It's up every day. I should say it's updated. I'm not a talk, right? It's updated every day. Today we've got the Stuff Plus article out. There's the ballpark effects out as well. So check that out over at fantasyguru.com. Make a note here. That doesn't seem to be working right. But I will get that up there if it's not. But yeah, so we have articles up every day till the start of the regular season. That's our promise to you. Once the season begins, the rankings will lock, but the rankings can be updated as much as every day. They were updated today with this Blake Snell news that we'll talk about here in a second. So the updated rankings potentially every day until the start of the regular season. Once the regular season begins, the rankings will be locked until mid-season. At the All-Star break, we'll give a whole redo of all the rankings. We have Discord open right now. So if you have any questions, you can hit me up in Discord over at fantasyguru.com. Go to fantasyguru.com, scroll down a little bit. There's a blue box around some pictures of baseball players. Click on that blue box. That'll take you to the homepage of the draft guide. It'll take you to the links that show you all the goodness at the website, and there's a lot of it. And we're still rock and roll. Remember, we're updating this on a daily basis. We've got right now, always highlight the rankings, AL only, NL only, mixed league rankings, all three of them auction values. We also have points league rankings, dynasty league rankings, best ball rankings, on-base percentage rankings, category rankings for hitters and category rankings for pitchers. Those come out the next 2 days. Next week, the closer grid, which technically isn't a ranking, but that comes out next week. Also coming out next week will be the solds rankings. We got dependability grades, power grades. We've got a lot of rankings for things over at fantasyguru.com. So it's all over there. I've described the ways to get it all figured out. If you have any other questions, support at fantasyguru.com or send me a note in Discord. Okay, before we jump into SWIP and average base allowed and talk some football with Russell Clay. Major League Baseball is different today than it used to be. We know that. We deal with it in the fantasy game. It's very difficult. In the old days, when I was young, you'd take a pitcher and they had a bad year and they threw 185 innings, right? Now a guy has a bad year and he throws 85 innings. The game is different. Pitchers go 5 innings. They're asked to throw 100% and just go to 99 pitches and they get pulled from the game. They're not concerned with going 7 innings. Teams spend wildly on their bullpens because they know they're going to need their bullpen for 4 or 5 innings every game. The game is different. It impacts how we roster players in fantasy. It impacts how we understand pitching in fantasy. And we've talked about that for years on this show. And I've talked about it for a decade now in my work at fantasyguru.com. Let's talk about the case of Blake Snell as a prime example of why I'm not a big fan of drafting pitching early. We've talked about this a lot. Pitching, starting pitchers contribute in 4 categories. They don't contribute in saves, right? You pick Jackson Chourio, he could help you in 5 categories. You pick Julio Rodriguez, he can help you in 5 categories. Francisco Lindor can help you in 5 categories. Even Paul Skeens can only help you in 4 categories. So there's always that limit there. There's also the understanding that, Jackson Chourio tweaks his ankle. Maybe he doesn't run, but he continues to play. Paul Skeens tweaks his ankle. He's on the 15-day injured list, right? So he doesn't pitch. So there's always all that. And then, of course, the injuries to pitchers tend to be a little bit more significant than players. So that's not always the case. That's kind of an anecdotal thing. But pitching is different. And when we draft the pitcher these days, again, we used to hope for 200 innings. Then it was probably 108 innings. Now, are you hoping for 160 innings from your guys? Is it 150 innings, 140? Like, where are you at on the spectrum there? Well, in the case of Blake Snell, it better be a low number. Blake Snell has pitched 10 seasons in the big leagues, a full decade, 10 years in the big leagues. He has thrown 130 innings, 130, twice. 2 times. From 2001 to 2025, after we returned from COVID. The last 5 years, the average Blake Snell season is 120.1 innings. This guy's ADP right now at the NFBC, amongst all pitchers, including relievers, is inside the top 30 overall. He was dropped significantly in the rankings over at fantasyguru.com this morning, if you didn't see it, after this news that we're about to share here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, all the guys, Jack Morris used to throw 260 innings every year. The game was different. Angela's pointing out Steve Carlton. Yeah, the game was different. And not that long ago. I mean, I was alive when it was that way, right? Blake Snell, 10 years in the big leagues, 130 innings twice. Last 5 years averaged 120.1 innings. Blake Snell last year was injured in his first season with the Dodgers. He went out and he threw 61.1 innings in the regular season. 61. That's half of his 5-year average. There are relievers that routinely throw more than 60 innings. He threw 61.1 innings. He was interviewed by the New York Post yesterday. Did you see this? He said that after throwing 34 innings in the postseason, so that's a grand total of 95.1 innings last year. 95.1. We were just talking about Steve Carlton. He threw 3 times that many in the regular season. Blake Snell threw 95.1 innings last year. And after throwing 34 innings in the postseason, quote, he was tired and exhausted, unquote. What? He further went on to say, you want to ramp up, but got to take my time getting healthy. The plan is for him to be ready for opening day, but it's not a guarantee. What? He threw 95 innings. What does that mean financially? Well, the Giants paid him $32 million in 2024. He stole money from them. I said it on this show many times. He stole money. He just stole money from the Giants. $32 million in 2024. Left the Giants, opted out as everyone knew he would when he signed the contract. Signed a 5-year, $182 million deal with the Dodgers. His salary last year, because of the way the contract was structured, he's got deferred money, but he received a signing bonus. He made $64.8 million last year. So $64.8 million with a 185-year deal was in year one of the deal. The last 2 years, he has made $96.8 million in 2 years. That's $681,000 an inning. He threw 165 innings in 2 years. He made $681,000 an inning the last 2 years. Not a game, not a week, not a month, an inning. Now, finances of baseball, be a pro athlete. And as I always say to people, teach your kids to be left-handed. But he may not be ready for opening day. He was tired and exhausted. He threw 95 innings. Is this where we're at in baseball? And this is why I've talked about on the show, and I mentioned in articles on, and I've done polls on. So no one cares to take me up on this idea. Well, maybe we are behind the scenes, but again, we'll hopefully have an announcement next week. Why aren't we in leagues that use team pitching or no pitching? Blake Snell is a Cy Young winner. Blake Snell, when on his game, is as good a pitcher as there is in baseball. Fact. Blake Snell also never pitches. Again, remember, 120 innings the last 5 years. You need 200 innings for a pitching slot, 180 at least. That means he's 33% short in a best-case scenario. Last year, he was halfway there because he only threw 95 innings, including the playoffs. He threw 64 in the regular season, which means he's a third of the way to the number you need to get. So when you're spending, pick 78 on Blake Snell, pick 88 on Blake Snell, pick 102 on Blake Snell, what are you doing? You're drafting a pitcher who you know is not going to pitch. You're drafting a pitcher who you know you have to backfill innings for. That's tough. So why don't we do leagues that don't have pitching? Why are we doing this to ourselves? I've put out team pitching. I was having a discussion about this recently, and someone said, "Oh, on social media, you should put out leagues, Ray, with no pitching." I'm like, I've run polls every year on this topic. No one that plays fantasy baseball wants to play without pitching. Should you? Just something to think about. Anyway, Blake Snell, poster boy for the wussification of starting pitching, and this is just not the game that I grew up with. And it's baseball's done a lot of things very well the last couple of years to improve the game. There's the upcoming strike most likely at the end of the season, which is terrible. There's the fact that it's really hard to be a fan at some points because guys are with your team for 2 or 3 years and they move on. Nature of the game. But then there's this, thing of the players just not playing. It's like in basketball where these guys play 62 games because they rest 10 times. I don't know. I don't like it. Blake Snell will never be on any of my teams, as you can probably guess. If you're going to draft Blake Snell this year, hey, that's up to you. And again, when he's pitching and healthy, he's dominant. He's fantastic. But with the potential, the legitimate, like he's thrown 180 innings twice. You can't say he's going to throw 180 innings. You just can't. So we're legitimately in the I would go even lower. We're in the 75 to 150 zone with him as legitimate. That's a huge spread. He throws 76 innings, he kills you. He throws 150 innings, you're really happy. It's a huge spread. $681,000 an inning in the last 2 years. Just freaking unbelievable. All right, let's talk a little bit about SWIP. I'll throw it up here on the screen for those of you that are wondering. This is let me remove the Join Today tab so we can read that. So for those of you that are able to read, take that back, not trying to be offensive. For those of you able to see this because you're actually watching the show and not listening to it, that's what I meant to say. There's a very simple way if you're looking to analyze pitching and you want to just be basic about this. There's a couple of key factors, in my opinion, that you should focus on. Strikeouts, walks, innings pitched. The game is much more complicated than that. It's much more involved than that. To truly be an elite fantasy player or to really understand the game, you have to dive much deeper than that. But from a basic, hey, Ray, I'm just into fantasy baseball. I haven't been playing for 10 years. Or, hey, I don't have that much time, Ray, and I don't really want to read all the fancy articles about Stuff Plus and all the things you're putting out. SWIP is a very good tool because it's very simple, very easily understood, and it's pretty applicable to success and failure at the big league level. Think of it this way. Strikeout gets you a 1, walk gets you a -1, right? One's good, one's bad. Very simple. SWIP is the same idea as WHIP in terms of the formula. Strikeouts minus walks divided by innings pitched, right? As you can see there on the screen, the league average last year was 0.59. I break down, by the way, for all these pitching measures, including the two we're talking about today, SWIP and average bases allowed. I break them down into 3 groups: 160 plus innings, 160 to 100 innings, and then 100 to 40 innings. So there's 3 zones. So you don't have to throw 100. Like Blake Snell will show up on these, even though he didn't throw 160 innings last year. So they're always broken down to those 3 categories. As you can see, there's a key that's in the article and on the screen now, talking to you about what the numbers mean, because that's always something that's difficult to understand when you're looking at a new metric or something you're not familiar with. Like we all know what batting average means or ERA. What does SWIP mean? Well, I won't go through it here to bore you to death with the numbers, but it's on the screen and it's in the article. But the league average is 0.59. And that obviously means that, we're looking to target pitchers that are above the league average, right? If a pitcher falls below the league average in a measure like ABA or SWIP, we then have to do some more digging, right? Because it's not that you can't have success below 0.59. You absolutely can. It starts to get a little more difficult and you need to start to do something very well, like you need to be a big ground ball pitcher, as an example, right? That always helps, right? If you don't have to strike out 200 guys a year. If your ground ball to fly ball ratio is 2.5, no one's getting on base anyway, right? So ground ball pitchers can rate poorly in SWIP and actually still be very good pitchers because, again, we're looking at strikeouts and walks divided by innings pitched. Here's an example. It's a little hard to see, but here's an example. Again, the full article is available, both good and bad. Guys that did well, guys that didn't do well. 40 to 99.2 innings pitched. The best guy in that area last year was Cole Reagans. Now, obviously, he was injured. He's expected and hoped to be healthy this year and make 25-plus starts and be one of the better pitchers in the American League. So it's not a surprise to see him at the top of the list. It's kind of surprising, though, to see him ahead of Mason Miller. Mason Miller might be the best, just objectively, might be the best pitcher in baseball other than like Skeens and Skubal. He's definitely the best reliever in baseball, and you can start to make arguments that he's the most dominant pitcher in baseball. He was slightly behind Cole Reagans. That's how well Reagans pitched last year in the strikeout and walk columns relative to his health, which obviously was very poor. Chase Burns, another guy, came up, guns a-blazing. There's questions about how many innings he's going to throw this year and, can he keep the walk rate down like he did last year? But we saw that fastball just blazing with Chase Burns, and he dominated opponents last season. And he rated very, very highly as expected in SWIP. Griffin Jax, closer this year. Griffin Jax was fantastic last year. number 2 reliever in baseball in terms of SWIP. He's ahead of Edwin Diaz, right behind him, who's just followed by Cade Smith, Josh Hader, Aroldis Chapman. Those are some pretty dominant names in the bullpen that the old Griffin Jacks finished ahead of. Pretty intriguing. You'll see the name Shohei Ohtani on this list. Yeah, he pitches, right? Oh, yeah, he does pitch. That's right. He's a dominant guy. His walk rate was really low last year. It'll probably go up a little bit. I wouldn't anticipate him having a number this high yet again, but he's a hell of a pitcher. And if he makes 23, 5, 8 starts this year, what a player. Randy Rodriguez is hurt. Jeremiah Estrada is a massive strikeout guy. We know that with him. And then David Bednar, who is the closer this year. David Bednar was closer last year. A lot of consternation with him, a little wonky, a little uneven. SWIP says, don't worry about any of that. He was damn dominant. So go to fantasyguru.com, scroll down on that homepage, the blue section, click on the view draft guide, and then find SWIP on that homepage there. It just came out yesterday. You can also find it in other places at the website, but that's the simplest way. So that's strikeouts minus walks divided by innings pitched. Now the next one, average bases allowed. WHIP is great. Back in the day when WHIP was created, because I remember this when I first started playing fantasy baseball. I've told this story many times. I'm in the Bay Area. San Francisco Chronicle used to have the Sporting Green. The sports page was actually green. It's pretty cool. Sporting Green. They had Giants and A's stats every day, but they didn't have the whole baseball stats in the newspaper until Sundays. Once a week on Sunday, they would list all the team's hitters and pitchers, and it was very basic stuff, right? Like there wasn't much beyond the 5x5 fantasy numbers that were listed, right? There just really wasn't. It was very simple. Things like WOBA, unweighted runs created plus, were decades off in the future of even being invented. So I had to wait till Sunday to get the newspaper to actually go through all the stats, right? So that was the time period, Major League Baseball, fantasy baseball, basically 80s, like 1980, I think. Is it 1980? I'm drawing a blank here. I'm crazy this week. Something like that, when the rotisserie chicken and Okrent and the whole thing. So they had to use the numbers that were there, and WHIP is very easily, readily available and understandable. Okay. We're well beyond that now, right? Flash forward 45 years, the game of baseball is different. The way we play fantasy is different. And here is where ABA comes into play. Let's go through these two examples again that are on the screen. According to WHIP, both pitcher A and B have the same number. Pitcher A allows a hit and a walk in 2 innings. WHIP is 1, right? 2 base runners, 2 innings. WHIP is 1. Pitcher B allows a hit and a walk in 2 innings. His WHIP is 1. Ray, don't be stupid. Yeah, but follow me here. So both these guys are the same. 2 innings pitched, 2 runners allowed, WHIP of 1. However, what if pitcher A allowed a walk and a single, and pitcher B allowed a walk and a home run? Remember, according to WHIP, they're the same guy. The WHIP is 1. But pitcher B at least has an ERA of 4.5. If the walk occurred before the home run, then his ERA is 9. Right? Because it'd be 2 runs in 2 innings. Whereas pitcher A, a single and a walk, even if they're back-to-back, we're not getting a run out of that. Right? Unless there's an error in the ball, unless there's a fielder's choice involved, unless there's things have to, but they could very easily be that pitcher B has a WHIP of an ERA of 9 and pitcher A has an ERA of 0. WHIP says they're the same guy. That makes, just even if we take the ERA out of it, does it make sense to you that a walk and a single should be counted the same as a walk and a home run? And the answer is obviously no. You know that. I know that. Okay, so let's take that to the next level. Instead of using hits and walks as we do in WHIP, average bases allowed replaces hits with total bases allowed. It's much more important to know whether the pitcher gave up 5 singles and a double than he gave up 5 singles and 2 home runs. Or 4 singles and 2 home runs, same amount of hits. 4 singles and 2 home runs. Right? Wouldn't you rather know if the pitcher allowed 2 home runs or 0 home runs? Wouldn't you rather know if the 7 base hits allowed were all singles or they were 4 doubles and 3 home runs? Kind of different. That's what average base allowed does. Average base allowed also, and this is an adjustment we made a couple years ago. Why aren't we counting hit by pitch? If we're going to count walks, Why aren't we counting hit by pitch? If we're going to count total bases, why aren't we counting hit by pitch? So ABA now also includes hit by pitch because the batter is on base. So the average bases allowed has the advantage over WHIP of including hit by pitch. And it also has the advantage of looking at the type of batted ball that was put in play. Was it a single, a double, a triple, or home run? That matters. So that's what average bases allowed totals. As you can see down on the screen, we've created another key so you can follow it. So you'll know exactly what the numbers mean, even though you're unfamiliar with the number. And in this instance, the smaller the number is better. But again, it really bothers me that this doesn't bother me. I wish this had taken off. Maybe I've done a bad job as a salesman of this because this is way better. And I'm working behind the scenes to make sure, and I can't promise anything, so do not hold me to this, but I'm working behind the scenes to try to create average base allowed as one of the categories we have in our stats package over at fantasyguru.com because it's way better than WHIP. It's way better than WHIP. Let me make a note of that too. Let me make a note of that. There we go. I'll talk to the tech guy today again to remind him. So let's look at some of the leaders from that 40 to 99.2 innings pitched zone. Again, remember 40 to 99.2, 100 to 159.2, and then 160 and up. 3 different categories. The leader here is Aroldis Chapman. Not surprising, he was dominant. Adrian Morejon was really good in fantasy. He got some saves, got some holds, got a bunch of wins. Really? Tyler Rogers, now with the Toronto Blue Jays, my giant, Mr. Submarine. Excellent pitcher. Not a dominant pitcher at all, but an excellent pitcher. You saw that reflected in the contract he got, even though he's 35 years old. Andres Munoz, yeah, he's good. One of the best relievers in baseball. Matt Swanson? Who? Yeah. That's the thing that some of these measures really do is they have names that pop out. Like you're looking at these, Sharna Armstrong? Like some of these names here. Oh, Mason Miller, yeah. Stephen Okert, excuse me. Sorry, I was talking about the guy that invented fantasy baseball. Stephen Okert, Dennis Santana, Kyle Thalbear. Like what? So I love these numbers because again, average base allowed is better than WHIP, just is. B, it points out some of the obvious. Oh yeah, Ray, Andres Munoz and Edwin Diaz. But what about some of these other guys? Like the Griffin Jacks example we gave, right? Now, is he closing this year? Yeah, it kind of looks like it. Is he going to do well with that skill set? Probably. If you're looking to fill you have 9 pitching slots and we're in the season here and 3 of your starting pitchers get hurt and you're looking at the reliever, maybe Sean Armstrong is a guy you look at. Maybe Tyler Rogers is a guy you look at. They're really good pitchers. So hopefully this makes sense. And remember, there is a full article about average base allowed. A lot of detail in there I didn't want to overwhelm anybody here on the show because, again, I'm talking. That's much different than writing as well. But check it out. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner. Send an email to support@fantasyguru.com if you got any questions. I'll throw that up on the screen right now. We're here to help. We're here to make money, but we're here to help too. And hopefully some of these teasers, if you will, of the articles and the kind of things we do at fantasyguru.com will intrigue you enough to sign up. I don't think there are many people that sign up for the product or have over the last 20 years with me, wherever I've been, who haven't been pleased with it. I think we can offer a lot of tools that can help you have success in the coming season. And that's really what it's all about, right? It's that we'll create a good environment. We'll give you an opportunity to make some friends, if you will, to have some fun, and to hopefully learn something. And that's something too, I talk about a lot. Try to teach people how to do this, right? Like we're doing here. I'm not trying to keep things behind the paywall. There's a couple like Smash, the tool we'll talk about. That's proprietary. That has to be kept behind. But something like ABA is a very powerful tool that I've been sharing with people for years. And so hopefully you all appreciate that. Click that subscribe tab, get signed up. Seasonal baseball, DFS baseball, betting baseball, all available at fantasyguru.com. You can also sign up for the MVP plan, which is everything we have at fantasyguru.com besides football and baseball. And again, to reiterate what I said earlier, That's NASCAR, PGA, MMA, horse racing, tennis, basketball, hockey, all of that is in the MVP plan. You get all of it for one price in the MVP plan. We also have the Super Bowl betting guide. Super Bowl's next week. Everyone knows that, right? That's next week. The Super Bowl betting guide is available over at fantasyguru.com. It's the only one-off thing we sell for football, but the Super Bowl betting guide is available at fantasyguru.com. I will still be writing my matchup piece next week for the Super Bowl. I know Tyler Beaker, who we talked to yesterday, he'll still be doing his game script article. We'll have bets. We'll have all kinds of stuff for the Super Bowl. So check that out over at fantasyguru.com. It's Friday. And though I guess on Thursday nights, this guy makes videos talking about baseball on his social media account at Russell J. Clay. On Fridays, he talks football. He is our Dynasty guy over at fantasyguru.com. He, of course, follows the game extremely closely, historically speaking, as well as paying attention to what's going on in the current day. He is Russell J. Clay, Russ J. Clay, all of that. He's the guy that comes on, brings some happiness and some positivity to the show on Fridays. How you doing, Russ?
Russell J. Clay, and to rhyme with Adam Weatter in the chat, the fantasy content was the friends we made along the way. So there you go.
It's nice, right? I like that. Yeah. And by the way, Russ J. Clay on Russell J. Clay on Twitter X. Thanks for the video last night. That was hot.
Hey, we're throwing stuff at the wall. Sometimes it hits, most of the time it misses, and we're trying all new things to hit those algorithms for the social media, Ray.
Russell J. Clay on Twitter X. Where it looks like the temperature's okay for you. There are people I know, a lot of the country, but you're in, what are you, in the 50s, 60s?
Yeah, 60s, 70s. I blocked that from anybody. Any of my Northeast friends didn't see that that tweet last night. But yes, Tucson's pretty nice this time of year. I keep telling them, and this is to keep the jealousy away, it's going to be 115 here in a few months. So don't be jealous for too long. But yeah, right now it's pretty awesome.
By the way, with the Super Bowl obviously next week, do you like the 2-week period, or do you wish it was just a week later like me? You're shaking
no, I hate
1
this.
week. Yeah.
What are we doing? I don't care about the Pro Bowl. Now,
does anyone care about the Pro Bowl?
20 years ago, did we care? Yeah. And as I've said, there are great ways you can make me, the fan, care about this weekend, but they aren't going to give me the Joe Milton, Anthony Richardson throwing competition, Ray. We're not going to get it. I want to see it though.
That would be pretty dope.
I think one of them could hit 90 yards. I really do.
Do you remember when they did the competitions and like the quarterbacks were struggling, like they couldn't hit, like Russell Wilson in particular, right? I remember him. Like, couldn't hit any of the targets. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
They somehow, and that's amazing. Somehow in a game, it's totally different. It is different than practice, right? We always hear that some athletes are practice guys, other guys are game guys. But anyway, Russell joins us every Fridays at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. We've been going over with him obviously the rookie position. Rookies, in all the positions, because he's our Dynasty guy. We're talking some wide receivers today. So kind of want you to, Russ, to look back at 2025 and assess how things went and kind of what your thoughts are moving forward. Notably, to say it to everyone yet again, we still don't know who all the head coaches are. We don't know who all the offensive coordinators are. We don't know who all the defensive coordinators are. There's changes, like half the league is changing coaching staffs. There's a draft, there's free agency. So there's a lot of things that can change, which is why, Russ, you update the rankings every week, correct?
Absolutely. This is a huge time of the year. We just saw Shadur Sanders and Todd Monken meet each other today. Don't know how
on video.
I don't know how real any of that was.
Let's get a hook, bro.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see if they actually really like each other. But yeah, this is the time of year where we find out new coaching staffs, new faces, new places. And of course, with the draft coming up, like you mentioned, every year, Ray, we get those draft picks. And then the next year, sometimes we get the replacements the very next year. So, yeah, stuff.
It happens. And there's a lot of first-round busts. These guys spend a whole year analyzing these players, and they miss all the time. And anyway, Travis Hunter, long-term, I mean, he's a great football player. Didn't happen this year. There was all the debate. Will he play wide receiver? Will he play defensive back? He got hurt. We're hearing now that they're likely, at this point, especially with the signing of to the extension for Myers, with the assertion of Parker Washington late in the year, we're hearing that he's probably going to play more defense than wide receiver next year, which is, I think, the way it probably should have been the whole time. But how do you assess his season? Because it was messy, and I don't know if we really got any answers for him heading into 2026.
This defined the whole 2025 wide receiver class to me, where I was pretty low on it to begin with. So anything I got, I was happy with. Okay. Travis Hunter, we all were there. We all watched it. And I think everyone said from the beginning, what are we doing? What's going on here? Okay. All right. We got this 35-year-old GM telling us that there's going to be a wide receiver cornerback hybrid who's going to play 200 snaps a game. And
right.
We all kind of sniffed that one out quickly. Now, right. I still do think Hunter's going to have special packages on offense, but what do you know, Ray? A guy trying to play both sides of the ball in NFL ends up on IR within 2 months.
Yeah. And playing one side of the football in the NFL is impossible. And I think that's one of the things too that, Travis Hunter, what is he? I'm looking him up. They list him at 6'1", 185. Okay.
Yeah.
He's not a big guy, right? He's not. The nuances of playing wide receiver or defensive back are so important because all these guys are phenomenal. Travis Hunter used to out-talent everyone in college. It was easy. He was phenomenal. In the NFL, that gap is really small. And if you don't have the fine points of catching passes or deflecting passes down, I didn't think it was fair to put him under that either. I thought they should have played him on defense, played him 18 snaps on offense or whatever, that kind of thing. You're in agreement that it's kind of what you expect in the coming season?
That's always what I wanted. He was always, when you watched Colorado, wow, look at this corner who can play offensive snaps. Like, give him 2 end arounds a game, maybe a few screens, and maybe a deep target. I don't want him, and I'm a Jags guy, and he's an amazing receiver. But the value is in the corner. We all know this. Like, the value is in the corner. So if they could get a Stingley or a Pat Surtain type corner, just take that. Like,
right.
It's fine. Just go that direction. So, again, it kind of defines the whole 2025 class for me of, can we take what we got here and be happy with it?
Well, the guy that was taken 8th overall in this draft was Tedrow McMillan. And, it's another one of these seasons. You talk about the historical success of players. This was a fantastic rookie season, numbers-wise, for him. I think it met expectations because he was on the Panthers, so I don't think anyone expected him to go ham. What did you see? And he's still on the Panthers, still got Bryce Young. How much better is it going to get in 2026?
So Tet McMillan played awesome. 1,000 yards in his rookie season, which, Puka Nacua really screwed everything up. And I said this in the moment because Puka Nacua had 1,500 receiving yards in his rookie season, broke every rookie record. And I was telling people, like, he broke Anquan Bolden's rookie record, which was set in 2004, Ray. That's a long time ago. And it became the expectation for rookies the last couple years of like, all right, who's going to top it? And it's like, no, nobody's topping this for a long time. Nobody is topping this. And there was some pushback to me when I said that a few years ago. And now we look back, I'm like, I don't know if anyone's going to top this I don't know if anyone is, maybe 20 years from now, but 1,000 yards, still awesome for a rookie wide receiver. And, he was a top 10 pick, so expectations are high, but overall, good rookie year. And we joked at the intro here, but think about the Panthers. What did they do a year ago? They drafted Xavier Legette, and now he's basically gone because they got a guy off the street in Jalen Coker. and Coker and Tet bullied Leggett completely off the field, and that was a first round pick. So pretty wild to see it all happen. But I think Tet saved Bryce Young's career in a way. He's that stable force there that boosted his stats, and they ended up making a playoff run in part because of that rookie. So I would just say A- here, but don't expect this to go to 12 to 14 to 16. Like, I don't know that this is Justin Jefferson or Chase. I never really thought he was the same type of talent, but if you have Tet in a dynasty, just be happy with what you got, right? Maybe you get a few more 1,200-yard seasons, and that's a hell of a career. The Jefferson, Chase, like JSN guys, that's just not how it works. I mean, and Puka, fifth rounder, you get 10 league winning seasons, I guess. That's even more rare. So, yeah.
Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com. He's with us every Friday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're going through the rookie class with him. We'll continue to do that next week as well. Emeka Egbuka. This one is fascinating because the first 8 games, he averaged 15 PPR points. The last 9 games, he averaged 8 PPR points. He even got passed to look like by Jaylen McMillan at the end of the season. Now, Evans may or may not be back. Godwin can't stay healthy. Like, there's still a chance that first half of Egbuka returns at some point in the near future, but that second half was ugly. And how do you look at him? Because again, it seemed like McMillan passed him when he finally got healthy.
Ray, can I share a photo?
Yeah, you got one?
Yeah, I got
this
one.
Is why you need to be watching the show and not just listening to it in podcast form, folks.
This is Emeka Egbuka's rookie season right here, right?
Okay, I'm ready.
See the professional drawing?
Is that? Please tell me that wasn't you.
No, that wasn't me.
Okay.
That's a classic meme online, but I think it defines. It was an A+ rookie season the first month and a half,
right?
And then Mike Evans goes down, and I don't know what happened. There was no injury. And then Mike Evans comes back, and there was no, the extra coverage was going his way, and it just didn't. He was just terrible the rest of the way. And I don't want to say terrible for a rookie, but he built us up to think this was the next Puka, and then it just, I don't even know what the next Khalil Shakir, I guess. So I don't know. I would give this a B- rookie year, and I feel really weird about it. And I don't know, Ray, where are you at with Egbuka at this point?
One of the big things we always track in fantasy is workload, right? Because it's important. I mean, if you look at Egbuka, I mean, look at this: 9 targets, 35 yards; 9 targets, 40 yards; 8 targets, 32 yards; 8 targets, 42 yards; 9 targets, 15 yards. Oh my God, that's horrendous. Like, that's horrendous. So is it the offense? Is it the quarterback play? Is it the injuries? Was he asked to do things he's not fully comfortable with? I mean, I think the answer is a little bit all that. He's a rookie. And again, and it's also a long season. These guys, don't forget, in college, they play forever. Then they go into the training method for the combine. They don't really get time off. A lot of guys wear down as a rookie. But I think the most concerning thing for me is the fact that McMillan was, I mean, again, it looked like he played more snaps down like last couple games. Like I think Egbuka, to the smart fantasy player, is a buy, right? Because it's like, Evans could be retired or with another team. Godwin could be injured walking down the street. And if we're getting 9 targets a week, it's going to be better than 40 yards a game. That's kind of my thought, Russ. You? Same thing?
Yeah, so we think first round wide receiver out of Ohio State, and with the guys we've gotten the last half decade, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, you think, okay, the ceiling's pretty unlimited. And I'm still waiting. There might be development there, but yeah, it's a total unknown for me right now.
I mean, he did have 940 yards and 6 touchdowns. Like it's
so good.
You know, it's like it's like let's not get crazy. The next guy didn't score a touchdown. I got 29 passes. It's the first round pick. He's going to help the offense. He's going to be the guy. He's going to fill roles. Matthew Golden did nothing. Now he's 5'11", 190. He kind of was drafted to fill in for Christian Watson. It seemed like when Christian Watson was hurt, Watson returned a little bit earlier than expected. We know the Packers have done this for years where they legitimately throw the ball to 5 or 6 receivers every game. Like, this was a catastrophic fail if your expectations were that Golden was going to be a weekly play in fantasy. I didn't expect that, but some people drafted him expecting that to be the case. How do you assess this? Because, again, this is just, I mean, you look at his snap counts, and there were some games where he played, but there's other games, 20 snaps, 23 snaps, 18 snaps. Like, he wasn't even on the field some of the time.
So he gets an F for his rookie year. But anyone who had Matthew Golden this year, it was disappointment. And then he had that one awesome, cool touchdown in the playoffs. And that'll keep you coming back, Ray. The spinorama broken tackle touchdown in the playoffs. That'll keep you coming back. And time again, if I've learned anything, it's the Dynasty community just needs one touchdown to keep the hope alive. And I don't know what the hell happened his rookie year. I know they had a bunch of guys. If they let Dobbs go, I mean, that's a lot of snaps that opens up. We got this Wicks thing that I don't know why they keep that rolling when you're drafting Jayden Reed and Matthew Golden and Savion Williams. So I don't know what the heck they're doing. They like 7 guys there. I think that's what they like. They got Christian Watson as Angelo. Like, what are you doing, Green Bay? So I blame Green Bay. Commit to some of these guys, right? But they all keep getting injured. So I don't know. I like the talent of Golden, but I was never the highest. F, but with the understanding of if he goes to summer school and he gets back on track, like we're rolling.
What do you think? Because it always looks like, to me, this looks like a terrible plan by the wide receiver group. And I've said this over and over again with the Packers. Now, at the same time, Packers make the playoffs every year. They're successful every year. You know, when the injury happens, they do have somebody that can step in. So it looks like a dumb thing until you need it. But when teams have needs around, like, I've said this, and I want your thoughts on this specific piece, Russ. If you're throwing the ball to 5 wide receivers a week, you don't have a wide receiver. Like, I love diversity and all that, but when it's the fourth quarter and you need a first down, who the hell's getting the ball? I don't think the Packers have that guy, and that to me is a problem.
I would love to sit down with one of these coaches because, Ray, it's the 7 wide receivers, the go for it and not take any field goals, and there's a few other things offensively this year that I'm like, why the hell are you doing this? But then you say, why the hell are you doing this? And then it's Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, and the Bills. And you go, well, probably something they know. But yeah, the 7 wide receiver thing seems insane to me.
Russ Clay of fantasyguru.com. Let's go to Houston. Obviously, CJ Stroud's his own thing. We've talked about him previously. Nico Collins is the unquestioned number 1 here. They drafted a couple of guys here. Let's talk about them both. Jayden Higgins, let's start with him first. Higgins is a big-bodied wide receiver that, in theory, is the replacement for Collins when he gets hurt, right? That's kind of the way it was billed. 6'4", 215, 220, whatever it is. Had some moments this year, and arguably had some moments this year. He caught 5 passes, 4 passes, 4 passes, 5 passes, a month-long stretch where he was averaging 4.5 catches a game, had some touchdowns. How do you assess him? Because he really looks like he's the number 2 receiver for this team right now. And in theory, that could mean something if CJ Stroud can get his head out of his bottom.
It's almost a really rare situation where he was a 2nd-round pick with no expectations. I mean, fantasy community seemed like we were all out on him this year. And I looked at it and I said, is there value here? No, there is no value here. They they had no intentions of making him a big time weapon this year. Got some snaps because of injury, but they were all Kirk and I don't know. Big body, looked good, but gonna be a slow development curve. Feels like year 2, year 3, year 4 is when we're gonna find out what we really have here. I like him. I like him for Stroud, but not too exciting. I C plus. You know, I want to have lower expectations for him, but he was a second rounder. So I mean, if you were in a rookie draft, you had to put some value into him and you got nothing. So yeah, C plus.
So he was a second round pick. The third round pick of this organization was Jaylen Noel, and he's supposed to be the replacement for Christian Kirk, if we're being very broad strokes here.
Yep.
He didn't do anything this year.
No.
And what was really frustrating is Christian Kirk didn't do anything this year. Like, it wasn't like this role in this offense just blah. You know, at some point when you're looking at Christian Kirk, and I mean, other than a 5-catch game in week 12, I mean, listen to this. 1-1. This year's catch totals 1-1-5, 0-1-0. Like, when he's doing nothing, why isn't Jaylen Noel playing 75% of the snaps now? Like, why do we go an entire month where this guy's not even catching a pass in a game? Like, what is he offering our offense? That to me was a little concerning with Noel, because I wanted to see him take a step forward at some point this season, because it wasn't like Christian Kirk was, and he just didn't. I mean, he averaged 10 snaps the last 5 or 6 games. He's barely on the field.
It was a strange season, and you know, I was invested in Noel because he was the second receiver in Houston. He was cheap in rookie drafts. And there's always, for me, every offseason, all right, I like these guys. And then there's the value guys. The value guys for me this year, Jack Betch, Jaylen Noel, and Savion. And so you get invested in these value plays. And then you watch these interviews, and Noel's perfectly, he's like, I got to do special teams. I got to like help the team. And I'm like, hey,
good guy.
That's not what I want to hear. Yeah, I want to get the ball.
Right.
So I think for this year, they drafted him and they said, hey, you're going to play special teams, do the best you can. You'll get some offensive snaps, but you're going to be a multi-year thing. And I think he accepted that role. So probably a really good teammate, but I want him to be a little more selfish. And it's clear Texans had no plans. So I'll give this a C-, but what were the expectations to begin with?
Russell Clay, fantasyguru.com. This next guy was also drafted in the second round, but he did something this year. And in fact, down the stretch, he was really important to his offense. And now there's a debate. Not is he the number 3 receiver on this team, but is he the 2 or the 1? Luther Burden. Jeff Mans and I were talking about him on the Elite Sports Show. That's Monday through Friday on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio from 2 to 5 Eastern. I'm with Jeff on Tuesdays and Wednesdays on that show, excuse me. And we were talking about this and look at some of the advanced measured yards per out run. Like Luther Burden, like the stat community loves what Luther Burden did. And I think the eyeballs tell you, hey, you know, where is Luther Burden at for you? Like, you know, he's on the rise. There's no doubt about that.
So this is my I've grown older. I'm more mature. And we say, what's that coaching staff looking like there in Chicago? I mean, could he be in a better position, especially with Roma Dunze getting weird there with his dad subtweeting the Bears, and might be a rookie contract and out for Rome. Whereas Burden, you look at what Ben Johnson did with Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I don't think Burden and Amon-Ra are the same, but the similarities are final seasons. Amon-Ra had that COVID season and had like a few wide receivers there that took some of his production, falls to the 4th round. Luther Burden was supposed to be a top 10 pick a few years ago and had a terrible final season. And then we see Brady Cook with the Jets this year and we say, oh,
now we
all
know
right,
why.
maybe we know why that final season wasn't so great. And then we see Luther Burden at the end of the year with this offense, and wow. So if we're looking at fantasy for next year, obviously we didn't get the huge upside this year, but yeah, if you have Burden and you drafted him in a rookie draft, you didn't get the production, but you got to be pumped, right?
I would think so. Yeah. I mean, like I said, there's a legitimate chance at some point next season he's the number one on that team. It might be early. I don't.
And
DJ
if
Moore,
you get any of that Amon-Ra St. Brown role, like even not saying they're the same guy, but any of that, I mean,
yeah, 80, 1,007, right? That kind of
right.
thing. And I think those numbers could be maybe the Bears will have their first 4,000 yard passing season next year. You never know.
Hey.
Yeah, I know. You never know. Another second round wide receiver this year, Trey Harris. He had a couple of moments for the Chargers. Lad McConkey, catastrophic fail based on expectations. Quinn Johnson, I think we know what he is. Keenan Allen was pretty good for a guy that's almost in a retirement home, but I don't even know if he's going to be back with his team next year. Trey Harris, you made a face. Is it a good face or a bad face?
What are we doing? Why are we? I have a big gripe with the Chargers and the Raiders. Why draft those guys in the second round if you have no confidence? So they brought in Keenan Allen way early in the offseason. It's like, well, you just drafted this guy in the second round and you're going to redshirt him. So, I mean, they just redshirted him. I don't know what to think. They got him more snaps at the end of the year. I do think they're going to develop him. And McDaniel is like, huge upside there for that. Everyone in that offense, it's all up for grabs this offseason. So I'm really excited about that offense. I just give them a shot, right? I don't know. Your offense is destroyed with that offensive line anyway, so just give them a shot there.
Keandre Lambert-Smith too, just to throw him out there. Anything you like there?
I wasn't a huge fan, but again, we'll see who McDaniel picks as the guy.
And we will see for those people that are like, oh, coaching, you're going to see why that matters with the Chargers in 2026.
Oh my God.
Because I'm pretty excited that I have Justin Herbert in my Dynasty League. Let's just put it that way. I think I'm out. Yeah. I'm backtracking everything I just said a month ago. Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, we're looking at 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns. Like if Tua Tagovailoa can do that for him, we got a chance for some big things with the Chargers next year. Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. Russ joins again every Friday to talk rookies. We'll continue to do that with him next week here on the show. We do have that lull with the Super Bowl, not this weekend, next weekend. So what are you doing this weekend, Russ? You going to a card show? You taking some walks? You drinking some beers? You going on a date? You playing Frisbee golf? What are you doing?
So I have been exploring some of the trails in Tucson. I was walking them last night.
Right.
So that's part of what I've been doing. Might go downtown. Tucson always has some live music. Yeah, that's pretty much the plans for me. And, I've been tweeting every day, get Anthony Richardson and Joe Milton to the Pro Bowl. And I will pay $3.99 to watch them throw as far as they can. Like, please take my money, NFL. Come on.
And by the way, if you see Russ out downtown this weekend, you don't have to pay him $3.99. You can just go up and talk to him, and he'll give you an autograph for free.
That's right. On card autos, no sticker autos, Ray.
Man of the people, no sticker autos. What a guy. Russ, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it. We'll do it again next Friday. Hope you have a great weekend. Good luck with the trails and the fun. Hopefully you have some of it this weekend. We'll talk some more football with you next week.
All right. Thanks, Ray.
Remember, this show is Monday through Friday, Fantasy Sports Daily, 12 to 1 Eastern. You get an hour-long break when this show is over. Then you head over to SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio from 2 to 5 Eastern for Jeff Mann's show, the Elite Sports Show. I'm here Monday, Thursday, Friday on this show. On Tuesdays and Wednesdays on this show is Justin Fensterman, because on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I'm over with Jeff Mann's on the Elite Sports Show. We'll talk to Russell next Friday. We'll talk to you on Monday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. For Russ, I'm Ray. It's been Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by fantasyguru.com.